Welcome, Domain Dave here for CheapWinePlanner.com. And we're having our Valentine's Day wine podcast a little early, not too early. What we have today is the Kirkland signature Asolo Prosecco. What else is there? There's the part I didn't put in the title. It is the DOCG Superiore. The one thing I did do is it's bottled November 2024, and that's important. We'll get into that in a second. There's kind of two different Proseccos coming out of the Veneto region, which is in northeast Italy. The DOC is in the flatland, and that's what you get most of the time. You see DOC. And then on the hilly parts, it's DOCG. And Asolo is in one of the hilly parts. And that's the rules and regulations there are stricter than the DOC, and the DOCG, that's guaranteed. They have stricter rules and regulations in the vineyard and the production. And the G means it's guaranteed because they actually go and they check up on the wineries if they have the protocols in place to be doing all these fancy things to the wine. It usually means that the DOCG Proseccos are more expensive, but not here. The $7.69 is pretty cheap. And Prosecco on a whole is not expensive at all. It's actually usually a bargain. So why do I put down there that it was bottled in 2024 November? Which, if they bottled then it got here, I don't think it was necessarily here for the holidays. I think this is a Valentine's Day. The label is kind of pinky, lavender, kind of pretty. It says Valentine's Day way more than it says Christmas and Thanksgiving. And this is an extra dry wine. Extra dry is how they drink it in Italy. 2/3 of all Proseccos are extra dry. That little bit of sweetness that it adds is needed. The Glera grape needs a little oomph to be kind of interesting. So that little, if you get it dry is how they make champagne. And the drier, the better with champagne, but champagne's made in a whole different style. Prosecco's made in the Charmat method, and they, each winery ferments the grapes the first time to their house style, and then they load up the wine in these huge autoclaves. It's the same principle as how they sterilize surgical tools and tattoo needles. They add sugar, they add yeast, and they crank up to the desired amount of the pressure in the tank. And after a couple of weeks for the least expensive stuff, to a couple of months for the fancy stuff, though there is no rule. I mean, who knows? This is a DOCG. It probably has a decent amount in there, but it's only a couple of weeks to a couple of months, where a minimum of champagne is 18 months for second fermentation. So there we go. This is something that's kind of fast and easy. Charmat method was invented in the 1890s. So it's like the industrial age version of sparkling wine, where the Renaissance version is champagne. So you take your pick. If you're an industrial age guy or a Renaissance person. I'm going to take a sip. Almost forgot, which I do sometimes. Why did I mention that this was bottled in 2024? November of 2024. They only bottle after they put it in because after a couple of weeks to a couple of months, second fermentation is completed, they only bottle what they need to sell at that point. There's no need to bottle everything. So they keep on coming back to it, because under pressure in this vat, while they keep going back to bottle, the wine stays fresh and it stays alive and really nice and juicy, and it's the way you want it. Now it's fine in the bottle. It can last in the bottle for years, but you really want it to be brand new, and that's what this is. This has been bottled just a couple of months ago. This is going to be bright and juicy from Prosecco. I mean, you can get a brand name at the local supermarket and get a perfectly nice one, but it might have been sitting around for a while. Not that that's bad, but it is going to lose a little bit of that oomph the wine has, and that's what you really want. This drink's smooth and easy. It's got good acidity. But that little bit of sugar, a little bit of acidity, that little bit of extra dry gives the fruit and the citrus this rounded edge to it that goes down real simple. The acidity lets everything unfold. It's got some decent length to it, but it's well balanced. There's subtlety to it. It's not going to go out and bite you. It just sips really nice. Now, this isn't a food Prosecco. I mean, maybe you can have like cold shrimp or something with this, that type of thing. I'm just almost finished off my glass. Got to pour some more here. I mean, it's more of a sipping Prosecco, which is what I use it for. I mean, it's nice to have a glass of bubbly in your hand, and a glass of bubbly. The 2 bottles is like $15. It's got a nice nose. It's got a nice taste. It's got decent acidity. It's just a well-made wine. The winery's been around since 1928, or at least in the business since 1928. I'd never heard of them before. I don't know any of their wines, but yet you wouldn't. There's so many wineries in the world that you don't even know who half of them are. They're selling their wines here and there, and they don't make it to your market. But this is a really good Prosecco. That sweetness makes it really appealing. It just gives the wine that little something special. And the acidity makes you want to take a sip again. That's kind of nice things about these things. It beckons you, which is Valentine's Day, you're having a couple of sips. Maybe, I'd say we wouldn't pair with food, but chocolate. It would pair with chocolate. Chocolate-covered cherries or strawberries maybe too. Yeah, so this is a good Valentine's Day wine. It tastes great. It doesn't cost any. It's $7.69 is nothing. It is a new release of whatever. Who knows when it was initially put into the autoclave? It could have been a year ago. It could have been whatever. Because these autoclaves are that big. But it's bright and alive and new right now. So if you see it at Costco, and you said, "Oh, I had that a year ago," well, this one will be better than one a year ago, unless you got that at a new release. So that's it for me, Domain Dave, cheapwinefinder.com. This is the Kirkland signature Asolo Prosecco Superior DOCG, bottled November 2024. It's a keeper. It's a good wine. If you see it, pick up a couple. It's $7.69. Put it in the refrigerator, and you can pull it out whenever you need it. And it's winter now, so you don't need bubbly all that often, but it will get there. So adios, keep it cheap. This is a Valentine's Day special, and I'll be talking to you. Bye-bye.